Nyla Johnson. I'm part of the Trax department, and today I also have Nate Kemp with me. We're going to talk about how you guys need to be prepared and how you can use Trax for the fall coming up and the next year's crop as well. So we're going to talk about soil sampling. Nate, what are a few things for the upcoming season and fall that our growers need to be kind of aware of?
That's a fair question. It's kind of unfortunate. The soil sampling part of the business has really become, I'm going to say, non-sexy in a way, right? It was something that was pretty new and novel 15, 20 years ago. We got into it in a big way, 12 years ago, and it was something that we did very well, and it sort of set us apart. And now it's become so routine that we sort of take it for granted. But like anything we do in a farming operation, the big thing is to simply be organized. So right now is a great time to sit down and reevaluate fields, field boundaries, field names, because what people don't realize is that we can take that information and move it across multiple systems. It's pretty easy to take it out of a full-blown GIS system like we use for grid sampling or making nutrient recommendations in, and then we can sort of push those boundaries and those names into the other systems that we use. And it's amazing how these fields change. People build houses, so that has to come out. People take out fence rows. People join fields together. And we've got really good up-to-date information to get boundaries in there. We've got photography and we've got yield maps, and there's lots of different ways to get those maps right. But because they change so rapidly and they change so much, sometimes it's difficult for us to know what source of information to go and look at. So it's definitely an art, not a science. And if people, in fact, I think we got a guy coming in next week even to sit down with us and just to go through that field list and those names and kind of make sure those boundaries are up to date, and we can fix those. And draw from all the different sources that we draw from, sometimes it's interesting what gets in there.
So talking about boundaries, how easy is it for you to pull my boundaries from climate over to my crop link if I have a new field and it's in climate?
Okay, so we of course, Nyla knows this, we work with a lot of different systems. Unfortunately, there's a misconception about how easy it is to get information and move between these systems. I'll just lay it right out that is not as quick and easy as people in the industry or the magazines or the YouTube channels on farming are going to lead you to believe. That being said, in the specific instance of climate, we can pull up a climate account if a person gives us their log in, gives them access to their information. We can pull that up, and then we basically have to manually draw that into the CropLink system, which that's perfectly fine. We can do that. That's easy to do because we've got the computers and the screens here to do it. Once the boundaries and once everything is in CropLink and organized, pulling the information is fairly straightforward. At that time, we can download information from climate, like yield data, and we can bring it over to the other system and work with it. Now,
why doesn't that pull my boundary over?
Well, because they're not connected systems. So we work with basically 4 different systems, really 5 different systems here. Main systems from that deal with things like invoicing, all the way up to climate, which is more of a grower-based system, to Truterra, which I believe you're going to be talking about. We actually have a mapping system for our applicators, which will link and talk to things like bee-watch and drift-watch, and then we've got our full-blown GIS system. None of those systems really talk. It's all a manual process to take information from point A and put it into point B. The nice thing about having it in a full-blown GIS system is we can export those boundaries and put them into the other systems. So that's a great place to start and a great place to get organized. Once we have the cut made, we can pour the information in and we can download it from places like Climate. It needs to be original source information, which basically means they need to have a field view drive, or they need to have some connectivity of their combine directly to Climate. Otherwise, what we would need is the original raw information out of the monitor. And then, so if we have the original raw information, we can manually upload it. You can help them put that in the climate.
Yep.
I can also take that information and put it into our CropLink system. So that's really, it's just a matter of sitting down and we can kind of walk people through the best way to organize their information and how to get it into the systems that they want to get it into.
So you've used two words, and we use these two words a lot, and it's actually in our kind of our motto for the Trax department, and that's information and data. Those are interchangeable. They're the same exact thing, correct?
No, they're not the same thing, and that's a key point. Data is what we collect. It's a number. It's 156.7 bushel per acre at this given point. Information is when we take data and we process it in some way and we make some meaningful decision on the farm. So, of course, we really don't have as much overlap as people think. We do. Yeah. We really work with completely different systems, Nyla and I do. What do I want? I want to see a piece of soil testing information. I want to see a piece of yield information, and I want to use that into an equation to make a decision. To make a nutrient management plan. I want to see multiple years of yield data. I want to mash it together, and the information I'm going to derive from that is a zone that's going to allow me to go out and maybe plant or evaluate something in the field. So that's the difference. Yield data is the raw data. Information is the process data that allows us to make a decision.
So with the data and the information that you and I kind of dig through, and we can sit down and go through the field list, why is that important? Why is it important for the growers to come in and sit down and either talk with you or talk with me, or even sit down with both of us and kind of go through those things on an individual operation level?
Sure. So we have got, of course, our office is set up as one. We've got these Trax rooms throughout the Premier system. And basically it's a place that we can come and sit down just like we're doing, and we can look at a person's operation. I was talking with Larry Huffmeyer about this just a couple days ago. It is really difficult to stand at the edge of a field with an iPad or to sit at somebody's kitchen table and look through this information for a number of reasons. Just internet connectivity. It's maybe not the most comfortable place to do it. It's hard to see. So we found that it's been very effective to actually have a nice big monitor. We've got high-speed internet. We've got the computers we need. We've got immediate access to the people we might need to talk to. I've been in a number of conversations where it's led into other questions about maybe seed or sales or fertilizer pricing or just any number of questions a person might have, and I can just walk down the hall and get the answer. I can go find a Jessica and get those little things cleaned up on a person's account. So there's a lot of things other than just sitting down and looking through the field and the information that we can just, if a person's here, we can just get it cleaned up. You really need to equate it to going into the doctor's office. Why does the doctor not come and make house calls anymore? Because it just wasn't effective, because they can't say, hey, go downstairs to the lab and get some blood drawn because we need to look at this. I think we're very accustomed as a society going and talking to our insurance agent, going and talking to our lawyer, going and talking to our doctor. And really this is the same sort of scenario. We've got professionals here, people who do what they do. We've all got our job, and being able to put the grower into contact with exactly who they need to talk to, I think is a fantastic opportunity. So I know I plan on spending more time sitting down at the table with people. I think the other thing is when people come into the office, it becomes a very professional type of discussion. We tend to get down to business too, right? We discuss the things we need to discuss, and I know the feedback has all been very, very positive. So it's well worth your time to come in here and sit down and have a talk with us.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Nate, for explaining all of that. And like he said, contact your account manager if you ever want to talk to, sit down and talk with either one of us. We can go through your operation and really just kind of dig deep into those conversations. If you have any other type of questions, you can always contact Nate or myself as well. But be sure to stay tuned for the rest of our videos, and thank you very much for listening.